My concern about him running for re-election was completely separate from my admiration and knowledge about his capacity to serve as president of the United States, which was consistent and never wavered.
Well, when we sit here, as we sit here today, do you think he would have been up for running the country for 4 more years?
Here's the distinction that I make. And having had the experience myself, it is one thing to have the capacity to govern. It is another thing to go through an election for president of the United States. So you are an athlete. You may appreciate this kind of metaphor. Running for president of the United States is like being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace with people throwing tomatoes at you every step you take. It is not for the lighthearted. It takes an incredible amount of endurance and stamina. And can you imagine doing it while you are also carrying literally the weight of the world as being president of the United States? So the distinction I make is about capacity to be president and what that election would require in that campaign, especially running against Donald Trump.
I cannot think of a better way to finish a Tuesday night than with Sky News contributors Joe Hildebrand and Will Kingston. Welcome to you both. Any suggestion the Democrats might moderate their rhetoric just a touch, you know, after assassination attempts on their opponents has been completely destroyed? Here's Kamala Harris promoting her new book on MSNBC.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. And these titans of industry are not speaking up.
Joe, is Trump a communist dictator? And if he's not, why is she saying that?
Well, I don't think Kamala Harris actually knows why she says anything. And it's, again, a very illuminating reminder of why the Democrats lost the 2024 presidential election and pretty much every other contest, including both the House of Reps and the Senate. Kamala Harris's explanations for anything are just almost impenetrable. I think part of what she might be saying is that Trump is trashing US democratic institutions, and there's plenty of truth in that, but also that he's waging a kind of trade war which harks back to protectionism with his tariffs that he's applying on all other countries, including Australia, although we are at the lowest end. And is she saying that that is the actions of a protectionist, socialist, communist dictator? I mean, she doesn't really seem to know, although that seems to be what she's appealing to the so-called titans of industry to speak out against. But the truth is that Trump is responding to a need felt by many American workers that they did feel like their industries were under threat from other countries and from climate change, and the Democrats simply failed to address that. They failed to properly harness their working class base, and that is a tragedy for the centre-left.
Will Kingston, I personally find it hard to keep up. Before the election, Trump was a Nazi. A month ago, he was a fascist. This week, he's a communist. Have I got that right?
Something like that. Well, to Joe's point, the term itself doesn't really matter. If you ask Kamala Harris, or indeed anyone who uses this type of language, what communism or fascism means, I think they would struggle to give you a coherent answer. It's more that it's coded messaging to their supporters. They are trying to say that conservatives are dangerous, that they're extremists, and as a result of that, you can't reason with an extremist. You can't debate them, you can't argue with them. So it is acceptable to either censor them, to suppress their speech, or yes, to engage in political violence. There is a permission structure in this language, James, that enables political violence in a way that you do not see on the right. That's why I've said several times now in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination that what we're seeing on the left side of politics is that political violence is inherent in the ideology. There is a permission structure within the ideology in a way that there just is not on the right. This whole language is just a way to basically say you do not reason with these people. You actually engage in far more nefarious ways of stopping them. It is incredibly dangerous to our political discourse.